October 10th. We are in the last quarter of the year. And so last quarter of the year, what we know is that means it's always time for us to begin looking at business planning. So today's topic, business planning using the KISS principle. And everybody know, does everybody know the KISS principle? You've heard it. Keep it simple. Yeah, everybody always gets the wrong answer for that one. Salesperson. Keep it simple, salesperson. So that's the way we want to look at it. Today, I'm going to be with you. I've also got head coach Alex Peck and tech ambassador extraordinary, Mr. Bob DeVore will all be jumping in with us here as we go along. Now, because I want to make sure everybody gets in, we're going to do this. We're going to have a little bit of fun here. So this is participation time. You get to do this on your own. Here we go. So a little fun. Here's what I want you to do. And you might want to write this down as you go, but here's a little bit of fun as we get everybody on and we're joining us. Think of a number between 1 and 10, and then just write that down. And then what I want you to do is to multiply that by 9. If you don't know what that is, ask your partner next to you. If it's a 2-digit number, like you came up with 27, add the 2 digits together, that would be 9. Okay? Next step, subtract 5 from that. Well, from whatever number you came up with. I don't know what you came up with, but subtract that 5 from that number. Determine which letter in the alphabet corresponds with that number. So if we just give A as 1, 2 as B, 3 as C, so on, what letter of the alphabet corresponds with that number? Then I want you to think of a country. This might be difficult for some of you, but think of a country that actually begins with that letter. And thinking of the second letter now, we're really getting somewhere with this. Thinking of the second letter of that country, what I'd like you to do is think of an animal that begins with that letter. So essentially you've got a country and then you've got an animal, right? But here's what I want you to know. There are no elephants in Denmark.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I'm a mind reader. I got all of you on that one. You're going, how does he do it? I don't know. Somebody else gave this to me years ago. So a little bit of fun just to make sure that we've got everybody on and enjoying with what we've got going on here. So business planning, guys, let's break into it. What we're going to give you today, 5 key principles that we want to hit. Number 1, begin with the end in mind. And that means, what's your why? All of us got enough of experience that here's what we know. We don't wake up every morning going, oh man, I can't wait to jump on the phone and talk to a whole lot of people. Or I can't wait to get out and see a whole lot of people by knocking on doors or whatever it is you're choosing to do. And we know this is what we have to do. We don't wake up with that kind of a mentality. Now, here's the next part of that. Know your numbers. Otherwise, real estate's really simple. We need to see people every day. Every day we wake up, we're unemployed. How many people am I supposed to see every day? How many do I need to talk to? I need to know what the numbers are. 5, we're going to schedule what that plan is. Whatever it is, that's what we need to take a look at. Build the plan. Otherwise, what am I going to do? How am I going to get to the point to where every day I'm talking to a certain number of people, that I do a certain number of appointments every week, that I hit a certain number of closings that will make me what I want to make, so that I can have all the things that I want to have. And of course, then we simply end that with putting the plan in place, working the plan. So here's the thing. What's going to make you do the things that you don't want to do every day. What's going to make us do what we don't want to do every day? Well, that's your why. We need to figure out what that is. And what I would kind of give you by this little visual here, it's not the money. So if all you've ever done is said, I want to make $100,000, that's not the real motivation. The motivation is, what are you going to do with it when you've got it? How are you going to spend that? How is it going to benefit you? We need to know what those things are. And by the way, as a minimum, we need to know what we need simply to live the way that we want to live, so that we can pay the mortgage or pay the house off, go that direction, but just pay the mortgage, to pay the utility bills, food, clothing, all those basic necessities that we got to have to live. We need to know the needs, but then we can get into what are we dreaming about? What's the why? And so this one kind of caught me as funny, but I listened to motivational podcasts backwards and became a self-made failure. Why do I put this in? Because guys, you are either going to be a self-made success, but at the same point, if we aren't getting what we want and we fall out of this business, we were still self-made. Well, here's how we become a self-made success. It starts with the why, and many of you have heard of the law of attraction. What we need to do is to figure out what the why is. What are the things that we want to have, what we want to do, where we want to go? And we need to see those. As a matter of fact, the way that you really hit it is, the more that we can get the 5 senses involved with what we want, the more likely it is that we're going to have that. They always say, just ask and then give thanks, as if it's already been given. But the law of attraction says that if we simply think about, it will happen. But what I would tell you is if I added anything in, and I don't know if it exists out there, but I would say it's the law of action. You can think all you want, but if we were to sit back on our butt and do nothing all day long, are we going to have everything that we want? And the answer is no. So we have to be in action, even though we've done the law of attraction. So step number 1, begin with the end in mind. And here's what we're talking about: the needs, the goals, your dreams. My suggestion, your manager, your mentor has the dream sheets. 2 pages with 100 lines for you to be able to just dream wildly. And don't let the self-talk interfere with what it is that you can dream of. Don't let the simplicity or the gigantic dream that you may have, don't let that voice inside you say, well, you can't do that. Just write it down. Doesn't matter how simple it is, how large the dream is, write it down. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? What do you want to be? What do you want to become? What would you like to give? What would you like to do for others? All of those are in there because now they're yours. And once determined, we can figure out the amount of money that we need to make. Go into action and figure out what you need to make. Once I know what I need to make, now it's really simple. What's the plan? How do I do what I've dreamed of? How do I get what I want? I know how much money I need to make. How now will I make that money? What is the plan for that? From there, know your numbers. Now, guys, I can tell you the simplest thing that you can do is goal projector. Now, I got about 8, 10 people here. Who's done the goal projector? Half of us. Okay. So let me ask you this, guys. Here, out there, you guys. How much money do you need to make to reach your goals, your dreams. Obviously, the first part is if I don't have the dreams, I probably really haven't calculated the amount of money I need. If I have decided, well, I need to make about, I'm probably doing it based upon what my current lifestyle is. Well, dream, go beyond that. What more could you do if you made more money? Then put the plan in place. How many deals do you got to have to make that happen? You see, if we don't have that simple part, why would you get out of bed, go to the office, or go to your desk in your home, where now you've got to ignore all of the other distractions that exist? And I'm just simplifying as distractions you've got to ignore, to pick up your phone and talk to people. Why would you leave the house, go out on Main Street, and hand out business cards trying to find people? Why would you get out of bed and go into a neighborhood and knock on doors? Why would you spend $1,000 to do a direct mail piece that goes out once a month? If there's no reason to do it, you've got no motivation, or simply you don't know all of what you need to do in the first place. We need to know the numbers, and the best place to be able to do that is through the goal projector. On the blue side, you've got CB University. On the gold side, we've got 21 University. Don't know how to get to it? Bob, if I'm right, we've got that on HRC, Agent Development Channel, YouTube. You'll find the specific directions. Bob has recorded it. Walk right straight through with it, and you can complete it. And I know there's some awesome individuals called mentors and managers that can help you with that. But we need those numbers, and here's the reason. I need to know how much I need to make, which started with the dreams. That'll tell me how many deals I need to close. It will break it down to how many appointments I need to go on a weekly basis. It will break it down to, based on your plan, how many interviews do you have to how many contacts do I got, actual conversations, to how many minutes do you need to block in your calendar to be able to make that happen. So that leads to step number 3, and I haven't been able to look, but Alex, I'm guessing you're out there. I hope so. He is. Buddy, I'm going to stop sharing. You can jump in here.
All right. So, we've been talking about business planning, and Darwin and I were talking about it a little bit yesterday. And what kind of coincides with business planning is actual schedule, right? So, Darwin, if you want me to dive into the scheduling part of it, and we can address that now. Okay. All right. So what do we got? About 28 people on here. How many of you guys actually have a set schedule that you follow on a daily, weekly basis? Of course, you should have your hand raised, Michelle. Good. Okay. So we got a couple people. All right. So if we don't have a schedule in place, if we don't have some sort of guide to follow on a daily basis, how do we know if we're coming closer to our goal? How do we know if we're on track? How do we know what we're accomplishing? How do we know anything? There's no measurement technique, right? So what we're going to go through, Darwin, can you make me a co-host so I can share my screen? I'm going to go through how to build a 6-figure schedule.
I think you should be able to do it, Alex.
All right. Can you guys see my screen? All right.
Yes, you're good.
So we're talking about obviously income, and this time is when we should be looking at building our plan for next year, because what we do between now and the end of the year is going to close in January and February. So part of that needs to be our schedule. So if you don't have a schedule, grab a pen, grab a notepad, because we're going to take some notes. Keep it simple. I say stupid because that's just, that's how I was taught, the KISS principle, right? So Darwin was talking about keeping it simple. This is going to keep it super simple. It's very clear cut to give you exactly what it is you need to do to earn 6 figures in this business. So the first key points are 2/3 of your day should be broken up into what I call IPAs. So that is income producing activity. So that is lead generation, lead follow-up, listing presentations, showings. What can we do that is going to generate income for us? So if we're looking at our day into thirds, 2/3 of that should be income producing. How many of you guys are dedicating 2/3 of your day to income producing activity consistently? All right. Well, there's part of our problem, right? 1/3 is going to be ISA, which is income servicing activity. So as you start to do income producing activity and you start setting appointments and you start getting contracts signed, you're going to have business to manage in between, right? And a lot of us, we're all guilty of it. We fall into the trap of we get a couple deals going, right? Then all of our energy and attention and focus gets put on those deals, not the future business that we should be generating. And so what happens is we have the roller coaster income, right? We close a couple deals, then nothing comes. Then we close a couple deals, and then we have months of nothing. So if you want to avoid that up and down, this is how you do it. Okay. Master your morning. The most important things that you should be doing on a daily basis, which is lead generation, which I'm going to show you what that looks like, should be done first thing in the morning. It's when you're most energized. You haven't had a day full of problems. You're most focused. You have the most enthusiasm you can. And you should always get it done first, because if you put it off till the end of the day or in the afternoon, you're either one, not going to do it, or you're not going to do it at the level of energy, enthusiasm, and intensity you would if you got it done first thing in the morning. So beginning of your day, income producing activity. The middle of the day is income servicing activity. And the final third of your day is income producing activity as well. So beginning of the day, income producing, the middle of the day, income servicing, and the final third is income producing as well. As you get busy as well, you know, we all can lead to burnout, right? We've all been there where we got so much stuff going on that we don't even know where to start. The best way to avoid burnout is to establish a daily shutdown time for yourself. So mine's typically 7 o'clock. So if you call, text, email me after 7 o'clock, Monday through Friday, I'll get back to you the next day. And I test my agents on this. So I don't think she's on the call, but Stephanie, she had that problem where she had a big year. She did more business than she ever did before, but she was experiencing burnout. And so we set in place, she is done at 7 o'clock. So I would text and call her at 7:01 to see if she'd answer the phone. And she did once, and I yelled at her. And then after that, she cut off 7 o'clock. It's it. And it changed the whole perspective of her business. You have to be in control of your business. You cannot let it control you. Prepping the night before. So we all have morning routines. We should have evening routines as well. Your day starts the night before. So I'm talking about picking out what you're going to wear the night before. If you got to iron your clothes, iron them the night before. Put your lunch together, put your bag together, put everything together. Look at your schedule so you know what you got to do tomorrow. So all you have to do is wake up, take a shower, get dressed, and get out the door. You don't got to think. You don't got to worry about anything. You already know what it is you're going to do. You're attacking the day. You're taking control the second you wake up because of the prep work you put in last night. Okay? Because no matter how big or small the decision is, you wake up with a full glass, right? And every single decision you make, you take a little bit of pour out, take a little bit of pour out. It takes energy, takes thought. So by the time you get to the office, if you don't know what time you're going to wake up, if you don't know what you're going to wear, if you don't know what you're going to eat for lunch, if you don't know what you're going to do when you get to the office, by the time you get there, you could already be a third empty. But prepping the night before takes care of that. Work some Saturdays if you can. If your schedule allows it, Saturdays are one of the best times to lead generate because people are home and they're more likely to answer. Use a calendar. I don't care if it's a hard copy calendar. Ideally, I just use my phone, something to keep you on track that you can look at to know what it is you have to accomplish. Keep your time blocks in place so you have something to follow. So what does an actual schedule look like? So I'll give you an idea. This is typically what my schedule looked like when I was selling full time. 6:30 to 7:30 a.m., get up and out the door. So I give myself an hour, get up, out the door. 7:30 to 7:45, I had what was called an accountability call. And so what that call really consisted of is I had to report how many conversations I had the day before, how many appointments did I set, and how many contracts did I get signed, either listing contracts or buyer contracts, and then what my goal was for the day. So for example, it may sound like this. I had 22 conversations yesterday. I set one appointment and I took one listing contract. My goals for today are 25 conversations, 2 appointments set, and I want to get 1 contract signed. So that was between 7:30 and 7:45. 7:45 to 7:59 was role playing. So if I was calling for sale by owners, which I mostly was, I would role play the for sale by owner call. If I was calling expireds, I would role play the expired script. If I was calling my sphere, I would role play how the sphere of influence call would go. Then by 7:59 a.m., because I think by law, the earliest you can call someone is 8. By 7:59, you're on the phone. 7:59 to 11 was prospecting new leads. That was generating new business, meaning calling people I haven't spoken to yet. So again, the majority of my conversations were for sale by owner. So those were me reaching out to people for the first time from 7:59 to 11. And then 11 to 12 was lead follow-up. So you always want to do your initial prospecting session and your lead follow-up session back to back, because you're already in the prospecting mode, and your lead follow-up calls are going to be a lot easier than those initial new contact calls because you've already spoken to these people. Okay. So always do them back to back. From 12 to 1, you take a lunch, do your flex time, whatever you got to do. So 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock is that admin work. So this is the middle of the day ISA work that we're talking about. Negotiating with buyer's agents, seller's agents, clients, admin work, putting stuff together for appointments, all the busy work that we have to do to manage our business. That should be done in the middle of the day. So far, beginning third, income servicing, like we talked about. Middle third is the income servicing. Beginning of the third, income producing. Middle third, income servicing. The final third is income producing as well. So 3 to 4 o'clock, if you had time, another prospecting session, which again, if we're talking about an hour, you should be having between really 5 to 7 conversations an hour. 6 seems to be like that number, which is pretty reasonable. It depends on the source of business that you're calling. If you're talking to your sphere, obviously those conversations may be a little bit longer. If you're talking to for sale by owners, those are only a couple minutes long. So realistically, you should be having between 5 and 7 conversations an hour. Then from 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock, that was presentation time. So that's going on listing appointments, going out and showing property, or going out and getting a buyer contract signed. And then 7 o'clock to 8, that's when I went to the gym. So that was my schedule for really the first couple years in the business. And I will tell you that will make you 6 figures if you follow it to a T. But you got to have the discipline to do it, which kind of brings us into the next point, which is holding yourself to a higher standard. So one of my favorite quotes and favorite philosophers you see on the left, be tolerant with others and strict with yourself, from Marcus Aurelius. So be tolerant of other people, understand, but you should hold yourself to the highest standard possible. And so what that means is not letting yourself off the hook. It's human nature to let ourselves off the hook because it's the path of least resistance, right? If we set a commitment to something, we know that we set a commitment to it, but we're the only ones holding ourselves accountable. Hey, I'll get to it tomorrow. Hey, it's not that big of a deal. I'll eventually get to it. It's there. I know it's there. I'll get it done. And then we never get it done. Do not let yourself off the hook, because the second that you do, you subconsciously set the expectation with yourself that you are not worth following through on your commitments, and it will destroy your self-confidence. Because think about that. If you keep setting commitments, no matter how big or small, but you never follow through, you're essentially subconsciously telling yourself that you are not worth following through for. It's terrible for self-confidence. It's terrible for your psyche. So that's why I start with small goals. I'm going to get up at the same time every morning. I'm going to go to bed at the same time every night. I'm going to get in the office at the same time, right? I'm going to start with my morning part of my schedule. I'm not going to try and eat the whole thing. I'm just going to start with the morning part. From 8 to 12 is what I'm going to focus on. Then once I get that down, then I'm going to focus on the middle part. And once I get the middle part down, I finalize with the last third. And then before you know it, you have a full schedule. Okay. Establish those manageable daily goals. Set expectation with your clients. So if we're prospecting from 8 to 12, and someone always says, well, what if a problem comes up? What if a client calls me? What if this happens? What if that happens? Well, what would happen if you told your clients that between 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, 8 o'clock to 11, whatever time it is, that you are in appointments? And that if you call me, I will get back to you after I'm out of my appointment. Because lead generation is an appointment. It's an appointment you have with yourself to generate future business. How many of you guys would let a problem take you away from a listing appointment? How many of you guys would let a problem take you away from a closing? Meaning that you're not going to that closing. Right? So why do we let problems take us away from the activity that directly gives us those two things, appointments and closings? Okay. Protect your lead generation time. Because again, talking about expectations with yourself, if you sacrifice your lead generation, you're sacrificing your income 30, 60, 90 days from now. We are in a cyclical business, meaning that what we do today will not show up for 30, 60, 90 days. So if we do nothing for a month, not only did we lose that month, we lost the following 2 to 3 months after that, which is a whole fiscal quarter. That's why so many agents have such a hard time starting off the year right, because they take off the fourth quarter. They don't do anything in November, December, which means they're not going to have a closing until March, April, May. They lose the entire first quarter of the year, which is also why the fourth quarter was always one of my best quarters, because there's less agent competition. The people that are out there looking to buy are much more serious and motivated, as is the people that are looking to sell. So there are deals to be made. There's market share out there for you to grab, because you have less competition from agents, because most of them take the rest of the year off. And what you do in November and December, or what you don't do in November, December, will either show up or not show up in January and February. We have a responsibility to follow up. If you reach out to somebody and you talk to them and you have a conversation, we have a responsibility and an obligation to follow up. It's just flat out disrespectful not to follow up after you've had a conversation with somebody. How can you call yourself a professional salesperson if you can't even follow up? How can you say you earn 6% if we can't follow up? That is where the majority of our business and conversion is going to happen. Follow up, follow up, follow up. How many appointments did I set this week is a question we should be asking every single week. Friday comes along. How many appointments did we set? Nothing. Okay, then what did I do all week? How does that happen? Right? Am I on track or am I behind my business plan? Because my business plan tells me I need to be setting and going on at least one appointment every week. Now I'm behind. Now I got to play catch up. And the last thing about holding yourself to a higher standard is you should always ask yourself, is this necessary? Before you do anything, before you have a conversation with somebody, before you take action, before whatever it is this absolutely necessary for me to get closer to my goal? If it is necessary, great, then absolutely do it. If it's not necessary, then why would you do it? It's taking you away and off track of your goal. There's time thieves everywhere. If you let them take your time, if you let them steal your time, they're going to do it over and over and over again. Protect your time. So final thoughts about scheduling. If you didn't set or attend an appointment today, what did you do? Honestly, if we didn't set an appointment, if we didn't attend an appointment, what did we do today? That's a failure in my book. Now, if you talk to 20 people and you got some leads, great. That's a success. But if you sat around playing on Facebook and going through all these things that you said you should do, but you're not going to do, and then walk around in the office and talk and do all that nonsense, it's a failure. It's a wasted day. Okay? If you didn't set an appointment or if you didn't attend one, what did you do? Self-discipline is a must, which we talked about. Establish routines. Your day starts the night before. Protect your lead generation time. Think of it like this. If you don't protect your lead generation time, you are setting yourself back 60, 90 days. Simple as that. You're pretty much sacrificing a quarter. If you go a month without prospecting, you're losing 3 months. Master the monotony. So who looks at this schedule and says it looks like fun, right? That freaking sucked, but the reward was great, right? Not only that, but holding yourself to that standard. And if you can give yourself that level of accountability and discipline, there's absolutely nothing you can't achieve. Like, you can do anything that you want if you hold yourself to a level of self-discipline and accountability that's higher than everybody else. You can hire a coach. You can hire a bunch of people. We have great support systems, but the only person who's going to follow you around 24 hours a day is yourself. And you are the only person who knows whether or not you're letting yourself off the hook or you're following through on your commitments. So at the end of the day, it's not up to anybody else. It's not up to the brokerage. It's not up to the market. It's not up to the economy. It's up to us. We ultimately control our success or failure. Physical exercise is a big one too. We didn't really talk about that. We don't talk about that much. It's a huge part of my business, huge part of my daily routine. I work out 6 days a week. One, because obviously I want to stay healthy, but at the same time, you need some sort of outlet. We're dealing with people all day long. We're talking to people all day long. We have problems all day long. We're in the problem solving business. If you don't have some sort of output, if you don't have a way to get this stuff off, it's going to build up. It's going to cause implosion. And it's not going to be good. You got to get it out. So physical exercise is huge. I don't care. You don't have to go to the gym, but walk outside, do a couple of jumping jacks, do some push-ups, do some sit-ups, do something to get your body moving and get your blood flowing. The last thing I would leave you with is be mindful of what you consume, both physically and mentally. Be mindful of what you're eating, what you're putting into your body, as well as what you're listening to, what you're watching, and what you're reading. Do you watch the corporate news outlets that are absolute garbage and propaganda and fear porn? That's horrible for you. Horrible, horrible. It doesn't contribute to anything, and it's all about clicks and revenue. It's nothing. It's garbage. Do you listen to podcasts? What books are you reading? Who do you talk to on a daily basis? Are you getting negative or positive affirmation from people in your circle? Do you have supportive friends? Do you have people who are actually supportive when you achieve something? Or do you have people who have underlying resentment towards you because you're doing better than them? They don't want to see you succeed. So be mindful of what you consume, both mentally and physically, because everything is connected. And that's my TED Talk.
So bring it, huh?
Yeah.
Listen, I'll tell you, it's what I refer to as speaking frankly and directly. And if that sounds a little rough or a little bit harsh, it was right on, guys. So if it hurt, it's probably because you saw yourself. But good stuff. And so I pull up my calendar because I want you to take a look, and some of you have seen this multiple times, but this is the part of time blocking. So you should schedule. I'm going to be working, as an example, I'm going to be working from here to here. Yours would then hold from it, look, if it's 8 o'clock, if it's 9 o'clock, the key is that you do it. If it's 9 to 11 for prospecting and 3 to 4 for prospecting, time block it, because if it's not in your calendar, it's not getting done. Michigan game, yeah, I'll be there on Saturday. And by the way, you'll see that what I've got, I color code, but yes, I put in my personal appointments also. And even for, this is, my officiating schedule, but I put it in there, and it's shared with my wife so that she knows all the activities. I would suggest that you have the digital calendar and share that digital calendar with your significant other. It's important that they know what's going on, and they'll help keep you accountable. All right. So bottom line again, if it isn't in my schedule, it isn't going to get done. Plan it, block the day. Alex just gave you a great TED Talk right there. So here's what we know then. We know how we should structure the day. We know the numbers that we've got to hit. We know the reason that we need to do all this, and therefore now we need to put together the business development plan. And let's simplify this, guys. There's only 2 ways. This is real estate extremely simplified, using the KISS principle of keep it simple salesperson. You either do it passively or you do it actively. You either are passively doing the things that will cause people to come to you, or you're doing the things where you're going to the people. You're leading the conversations. You're starting the conversation. You're doing one of the 2. Guys, I have never in 36 years now discovered another way that you do real estate. Everything falls into one of these 2 things. Now, if you aren't doing one or the other, we know where your career is heading. Right? I mean, guys, there is no other option. We're doing one or the other. And I think we know enough about the two. We just got to choose. By the way, what's best? Both. Do both. All right? If we're going to go out there and do something, now I'm going to have a little bit of fun, but what I'm asking you to do is to be a little uncomfortable. Prospecting is not comfortable. Making contacts is not comfortable until you've been doing it. And you're going to need to choose how you're going to do the business. But when I talk about being a little uncomfortable, what you're looking at here is just a glass box. It's a room out in public, right? You see the gal, she's going into this box. But I ask you, when you take a look at what's inside, can you see? Right there. It's a toilet, guys. What's all the other things? A lab, a water closet. And although nobody can see inside because it's mirrored from the outside, I just ask, could you go in there and take care of life's matters? Knowing that you can look outside. Oh, here, some of you go, oh yeah, I could do that. But it would be a little uncomfortable. I don't know why we would, but it would be a little uncomfortable. I'm asking you, as you do your business development, to do the things that are going to be a little uncomfortable. And until you do it a lot, it's going to be uncomfortable. That first contact, that first conversation of the day, it's going to be uncomfortable. And the more you make, the easier it gets. Alex hit it. I want to reiterate, you should be getting 5 to 7 per hour. If you're not, guess what? You're doing busy work in between the call. Don't put the phone down. Hold on to the phone. Next. You've got to just choose which way it's going to happen. Business development being passive, business development being active, but you've got to choose one. So now you're going to build the plan. Now, guys, there's lots of ways for you to get these conversations to happen. Again, we can do things that will get the conversations to come to us, or we can go to the conversations. The beauty that we control the number of people that we can talk to if we're doing that. You could do, here's what I'm going to ask you to do. If you've been in the business, take a look at the last 12 months and source your business. Where did it specifically come from? So not just your sphere of influence, but was it your church, synagogue? Was it, was it because of the youth football program that you were coaching or involved in? Was it from your business networking group? What was the specific source of your business? Then, for the coming year, my plan for 2024, I can take a look at where it came from, and maybe there's going to be some surprises. And I go, wow, I didn't know that. I need to do more of it. Or, oh my God, I spent all that time and I got nothing from it. You need to take a look at that. Then I want you to take and figure out 3 to 5 business sources that you can work. Your choice, what is it? Where do you want to go? How do I want to do it? Even to the point of, do I want to buy them? But we need to have 3 to 5 sources. And here's what I want you to know. Last week we had on Jeremy Wolfram, our Central District Manager on the blue side. And Jeremy suggested that you put aside and invest 10% of every commission check into marketing, into lead generation. That side where we're going to spend some money to get calls to come our way. And guys, I want you to know, look at this list here. Open Door, Zoom Casa, Home Options, UpNest, Realtor.com, Truehold, Knock, Dave Ramsey, Homeward. And by the way, there's more. You know what they're doing? I want you to think about this. They're taking your listings marketing, getting people to request for information, and they're making money that you're going to be more than happy to pay 25 to 35 or even 40%. How much are you spending on yours? Because you see, if we'll market, if we'll spend money, we'll get a return. Matter of fact, I want you to think of it this way. I say, Prasanna, give me a dime, I'll give you $1 back. Would you do it? Right? Is there anybody that would not give me a dime if I gave you $1 back?
The dollar first.
Thanks, Bob. Or if I said, hey, give me $10, I'll give you 100. Give me 100, I'll give you 1,000. We would all do that in a heartbeat. But it's because well, sometimes you got to have just a little bit of blind faith. These companies are spending money marketing your listings and then selling them back to us, the leads that come from it. So number 5, and Bob, this is where I'm turning it over to you, buddy. So, whoops, I just did the wrong thing. I need to, or you can share now, right? Let me get back. You're on. Here's the microphone. So here's our extraordinaire on the technology, Bob DeVore. Everybody give him that silent wave, that applause.
All right. So I absolutely love everything that I've heard so far. In fact, Alex talked about goals. He even gave you another word. He gave routines. I'll give you another word. It's called habits. Because if you don't have goals, if you haven't established routines, or if you don't have habits, it comes back to the question, what are you doing? So every morning, part of your day needs to be prospecting. I don't care how you look at it. Because again, exactly what they've said. If you're not prospecting, then you don't care what comes tomorrow. So Moxie Engage, every day it's going to give you 5 people. Is that really that tough to actually reach out and talk to Karina or Mark or Ronald or Tracy or William? I mean, if they're in your contacts, they ought to be easy to reach out to. They ought to be easy to put a personal note, email them something, subscribe them to something. It doesn't do any good to have a CRM you're not using. Every day, reach out to someone within your SOI. That's got to be one of your cornerstones. Going out to RPR and doing a most likely to sell so that you can farm a particular community. Again, it comes with emails attached when you download it. You can use Remind. There's so many different ways that you can farm, get email addresses without all the grunt work. And I say grunt work because that's, it takes a little bit of time. But one of the things that Darwin brought up was the simple fact that, just a minute here, let me go. So website. Darwin talked about marketing, all those companies that market your listing. So most of us on our website, we have our company listings, right? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab this one right here. Wait for it to come up. Because again, this not only benefits you, this benefits the company as well. But I'm going to take this little description right here. I'm going to jump over to my Chat GPT, and my prompt is rewrite the following for a real estate agent's Facebook business page post. I put it into my Chat GPT. It writes my Facebook post for me. So now all I got to do is click on the clipboard, go back, and right here, click on this share button, and I'm going to go put it on Facebook. Now, why would I want to do that? I mean, look at that. Nice post, right? So watch what happens. I'm going to jump over to Facebook. Go to my business page. Right there it is. Now watch this, folks. It takes them back to my website. This is where I want them to come look for find your home. You want to learn how to do faves and saves. In other words, do you want to learn how to create custom searches on your Moxie Engage so that you can share them with your clients? Then click on that button that says for one-on-one schedule here. Click here. 50 minutes, folks. You, me, one-on-one. You casa, my casa. We can get this done and make it a part of your day. Where I have some agents that actually visit me on a monthly and on a bi-weekly basis. How do I integrate my website? How do I promote it? And how do I make Moxie Engage work for me? I'm looking for you to click on that link. In fact, I challenge each and every one of you that is listening. If you do what Alex outlined there, as far as what the day ought to look like, I challenge you to do it, hold to it, and then come back in 6 months and tell me you didn't make any money. That's my challenge. I throw the gauntlet out.
Which means he's done with his part. All right. Let me go back to the share. Go away controls. Where's my show up here, Bob?
What?
My show. Oh, here. I'll hit it this way for now. So here's where we're at. Number 5, we're working the plan. So we've developed the plan. We know the numbers. We've got a schedule. As Alex put it, commit to the goals that you've selected, that you have. And then, this is going to drive me batty if I can't get rid of this here. Let me get that to go away. Technology is always awesome when it works, right? No, I can get it. All right. So work the plan. Here's where we're going. Treat it like a real job. By doing the goal projector, because you did your dreams, you know how much money you need to make. You've broken it down to literally how many minutes per day you need to schedule to do lead generation. Treat it like a real job. Follow the calendar and don't let external forces, you know, I like to refer to them as the time-sucking leeches. Right? They're out there. There will be, well, here, gee, Sammy, I know, look, you don't have a real job. That should insult some of us, right? But that's the way those around you will look at it. You've got all this flexibility. Do you? Or do you allow that flexibility? Don't allow the time-sucking leeches to mess up your dreams, your income. Treat it like a real job. So you create the job description, you work the numbers, you create the schedule, you follow it because you built the plan, you put it in place. Alex didn't drive on this that hard, but he could have, and that is simply this: have accountability. You see, if you don't have accountability, you're the only one that's going to hold you accountable. That could be as simple as I know here in the office, Kyle is an accountability partner with Jake. They talk a lot. And Jake is going, here's what I've done. Alex had to make a simple call to an accountability partner to say, here's what my day was yesterday. Here's what I'm on track for today. So it can be anybody within the office. It could be somebody at another office. It could be your best friend. It could be your manager, your mentor.
If
A quick
Colin-
conversation and repeat. Yeah, go ahead, Alex.
so, just to chime in there, if you want to create some sort of accountability, so like, let's just say that you commit to getting in the office by 8:30, 9 o'clock, whatever that time is, right? So what I had in the office as a partner is I wrote 5 checks for $100 each, so $500 total. And he held on to my checks, I held on to his check. If you were late, if you got in the office at 8:01 a.m., the other person can cash your check. Do that for 30 days and see if you're ever late. So there needs to be some sort of introduction to pain to hold you to that accountability, not just the other person, but find a number that will make it hurt. A financial incentive is great because whether it's $50, $100, whatever it is, you're going to hold yourself to that. And if you do it for 30 days, you're going to find out not only can you do it, it's not that difficult, then it starts to become a habit.
I love it. And you know, what Alex brings up the aspect of pain, and the reason being is we're not necessarily motivated by the pleasure. And you're going, well, wait a minute, Darwin, you just had us dreaming. Yeah, dream. Dream about what you would want, what you'd like to do, where you would like to go, what you would like to have. And for some of you, matter of fact, probably way better than half, you have to create the pain of not having. It's not the joy in having it. It's the pain of not. You need to know which way you're motivated. Does it need to hurt not having, not doing, not getting? Or is it the actual pleasure of being able to do that? So great addition to that. So here were the 5 keys, and these are just some bonuses. Here's the wrap up basically. We know that we need to get in front of people, humans, who could actually say yes. Every day, that's the target. Every day we wake up unemployed, looking for a new job. How long can you go without an income? We've put that plan together. We know what we need to do. Another key, and again, some of you are getting tired of us going Moxie, Moxie, Moxie. If you don't have a good presentation, and when I talk presentation, not a piece of paper, not a book, not what's online, but the whole process from beginning to end. But yes, even that piece that you need. Moxie Present is an awesome tool. Do you need it? I'm sitting here and I know Kyle's sitting here. Kyle doesn't use it, but Kyle's got a great presentation. Therefore, does he need it? No. You get a high percentage of everyone you go out on. And so do you need it? No, you need a great presentation. And if you don't have one, Moxie is where you're going to start with that. All right. And again, it's the full process. And when you get there, I always say, tell them the truth. Tell people the truth. But best yet, when it comes to that pricing discussion, which is where the truth needs to come from, do your presentation, that entire process in such a way that they will tell you a realistic, competitive asking price. And if you're going, yeah, I don't know, what's this process that you keep talking about? Well, there's educational classes. We're formulating what's 2024 going to bring. We'll bring you all of these things, but make sure you continue to jump on with all of our Hot Topic Tuesdays, and we're going to get all this stuff out of here. So here's the last part I want to give you. You cannot fail until you've given up. And I don't know if you look at this little guy here. Where is he? Down there? There. I got to point the opposite direction. Look, he's just about gone down that bird's throat, but why not? Grab a hold. because he can't go anywhere. You ain't going anywhere when you got him like that. Final thought. Create success. You are self-made. And here's what I'm gonna, and I might be preaching to the choir, but if the choir can go preach to others. One guess who that might be. I love you, man. Never get good. And here's what, it's a quote from Teddy Roosevelt. You should always be green and growing, for once you ripen, you rot. So continue to get the education, guys. I want you to know that your managers are going to be setting up a whole lot of business planning. They're going to be doing dream boards. And guys, the more succinct that you can make your plan, the more likely you are to hit your success. So go out, make the plan, participate in those upcoming sessions for business planning, and let's see you again next year on stage with those awards. So that brings a wrap to another Hot Topic Tuesday deep dive. See you next week. Bye, everybody. All right, well, it is another Hot Topic Tuesday. It is noon. Today being